Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome to the cabin. I'm a little excited today. One of the things, well, there's a couple topics I want to talk about today. One is saving you some money. So this is something I posted the other day and I got a little bit of kickback on it and I'm like, no, I don't think people understand this, but I want to talk about some strategies in this tough time of reselling where there's pressure on every side of us, increased fees and postal increases and all that stuff, to save yourself a little bit of money. But I woke up today to thinking about a different topic today. Really been talking about it for years and I'm excited about it. Let's go take a look. But I do have 24 things that I have to ship out of here today. Not the Commonwealth Picker honey. That's over there on commonwealthpicker.com and dibdit.com. This bunny, this is, if all the years you've watched me, this is something, if I saw it at a yard sale, I would have passed it by 100 times out of 100. But it came out of that storage unit, so we took the time and looked it up. This was made in Taiwan, a little long-eared floppy bunny, like flower pot, I guess. I don't know. Sold for 15 bucks plus shipping. So if you watched a few videos back, I was talking about things I was going to focus on less during the year. Some categories I wasn't going to pick at all, almost no matter how good they were, just to save time and to focus on the things that I really think can make us some good money. So we talked about that. And I've already started to do that in 26. Matter of fact, one of those things specifically was gold and silver, anything, precious metals of any sort. And to really focus on it at the expense of other things. I was actually watching a video the other day that somebody was like, they were doing a mind test. And they're like, look around the room and find anything that's brown. And then they did that. And I think it was one of the Tony Robbins things. And then after he said that, he said, all right, look at me and tell me the things that you found that were brown. And then he just named them off. He's like, now tell me the things you found that were red. And he's like, I don't know anything that's red. Because he was looking for brown. And that's kind of the point. That focus is something that I want to do a better job of. And so gold and silver, sterling and stuff like that, I did really well on 2 years ago, did okay on it last year. And I'm like, man, I think I can really bump that number up. That's kind of the power of niching down in knowledge, but I find it very difficult and sometimes boring to focus on one thing. So I'm not going to do it, but I am going to take the things that I absolutely spend time on that I don't necessarily love, like jeans, like shoes, like car parts, and I'm going to start to push them out of the equation a little bit. I won't completely ignore them, but I'm not going to dig for an hour somewhere if I can go to another sale. Hoot Owl, Flights of Fancy, Hoot Owl Call, I guess is what this is, and a blackbird sound. Anyway, we picked these up down in Florida, and they were super cheap, and we bought 4 of them, and 2 of them are selling for 22 bucks plus shipping. So I got a call from a friend the other day and said, hey, we've got this place, and well, I don't want to go into details because this is an interesting story. It'll be a good video over on the Commonwealth Picker channel coming up, I don't know, probably a month out. And you'll see it. I think you'll be a little shocked at what I paid for it, but there's one particular reason that I did it. And there's one item in there that should do really well, and I'm hoping for it. I got to do a little bit of research. But there was a bunch of other stuff. And I pulled this out because when I woke up this morning, sterling or silver prices were at $80 an ounce. Now, that's when I'm filming this, so it probably won't be there then. But look at all this other stuff I got. This is sterling. It's weighted here. Weighted, not weighted, sterling, few sterling. There's even some sterling eyeglasses in here and gold filled and different things like that. And gold filled, y'all, is actually doing okay. It's not worthless anymore. And so there's some really cool stuff in here. And then one other piece that I'll show you at a later date. But I bought this. Some of you may remember this. I bought this, man, it has to be 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And I paid $15 at a yard sale because there was stuff on top of it that was silver plate or stainless. And this I found as I dug through it underneath it, and I'm like, that says sterling. We're gonna grab it. 15 bucks. Sure enough, tons of sterling in here, and I've waited because I haven't had to sell it. I'm glad I did, and I have piles of sterling in there, and I'm gonna start selling some of it off because the prices are insane right now. And it's not just flatware. I've got bags of sterling silver, not huge ones in there, and bags of different, gold, 10 karat, 14 karat, whatever. My daughter has always had a good time if I buy a box or something, so going through and picking a few pieces out that are sterling or gold, and I occasionally sell them off. Really, it's more for the videos than anything else, just to show people what can be done out there. Grab yourself a little jewelry scale, grab yourself a magnet, grab yourself a loop, and start doing it. it's going to be worth it. There's going to be somebody out there who leaves a comment like, it'll make me feel really happy. I saw you talk about, let me tell you this first, Bella Taylor purse. They look very similar to the Veras, and they sell about the same, a little bit less on average, depending on, you know, which one you've got. Some Veras are worthless, some are worth some money, but this is condition-wise pretty good. It was a throw-in at a church sale, $15.95 plus shipping. But I really love seeing the comments out there like, hey, I would have never known to do this or whatever, you know, because I didn't look for jewelry for a long time either. I had no idea what I was missing out on, and I didn't have the knowledge, so I didn't spend the time, and I'd be looking for the things that I love. But now it's part of my repertoire, and it makes me a few $1,000s a year. One year made over $5,000 net just on gold and silver jewelry picking up at yard sales. So if you want to bump your income up a little bit, learn these new categories. And hopefully I'm doing some research videos on Commonwealth collections that will help some people. Most of it's for entertainment purposes, but in every single video, I'm doing some educational stuff in every single category. I'll do some really fun ones that are really for me, but hopefully we can all get a little bit better. At least us everything pickers out there can get a little bit better this year and increase our margins by increasing our knowledge. I picked this one up at a sale. Actually, I bought something else. I bought this cool Barney framed poster that was kind of neat and has got a little value. And I was walking out of the sale and saw this hanging on a rack. I'm like, that thing looks cool. And it's Sears Oakwood sportswear jacket. And we put it out there for a decent price. Bought it last spring. Sold it on an offer, $42.70 for that jacket plus shipping. Y'all, I turned on this heater. And I always say I like to keep the heater and air conditioner off, except for people tell me they can't hear it. But I know you can hear this thing right now, and it's kind of cold in here. I've always filmed afternoon, always, or in the evening. I've never filmed in the morning. I take care of the social media stuff, the eBay stuff as far as answering questions and doing all that stuff in the morning, listing things in the morning. And then later on, after I'm done with everything else, I'll come back and do more listings and stuff like that. But I've changed what I've been doing, and it has been extremely productive. Is there anything out there that you guys have changed in 2026? For me, the biggest thing was getting to work on the reselling business first and doing everything that needs to be done as my top priority, and then sometimes scrambling, to be honest with you, to do the social media stuff. Except for yesterday, because yesterday I went and did that private pick, which you'll see a little bit later, and then I had to film a little bit afternoon, but I still got it done fairly early. White diamonds, y'all. I know, you look at it and you're like, I don't think, you know, Elizabeth Taylor just seems timeless for some reason. Coming back in popularity, and I guess it's the Kardashian effect. All right, 30 bucks, and they bought 2 of them, so that's good. 30 bucks for 2, just for the record. These came out of the storage unit as well, so we're selling some storage unit stuff. We are darn near close. I have not kept track of it since we were $600 behind, but we've got to be very close to breaking even on that investment with tons of stuff to go. Many of you out there know exactly what you're doing looking for gold and silver. Some of you have a good enough knowledge to be dangerous if you run into stuff. Some of you are experts in it. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I have enough knowledge to be dangerous, and I encourage people to do that. I've done a few videos. Some of the early ones weren't so good. You can type in Commonwealth Flipper, sterling, or silver, or gold, or something. You might find something. I've usually weaved them into videos that aren't titled like that. But there are a lot of videos out there that can help you learn the process and maybe even help you learn to avoid finding some fakes and stuff. I've done pretty good at that. I have bought 2 or 3 fakes over the years. If I'm not 100% certain of it, I'm not paying up for it. That's for sure. I don't want to pay up for any of it. This dress has been listed for a long time. I put it on a deeper discount just for this item to get it gone than our typical discount. It's kind of nice though. And so this isn't even the right one, unless it's backwards. Am I looking at it backwards? This isn't the right dress. Is it? Definitely not. I gotta go back in and find the right one. I didn't even go back in. That's why. My wife must have done this one. She folded it over so you could see the inside color of it, and I'm like, that didn't look the same. So there you go. That makes sense. $27.97 plus shipping. And honestly, if you find some reputable local people you trust and get a relationship with, you know, you could probably sell it to them for the same that you could sell it for and actually paying the eBay fees. And there's a few folks out there that would like to do that to avoid certain taxation. I'm not advocating now. Come on. For that shower gel, Pink Pineapple Bath and Body Works. Paid $1 for this one. I think there's a few different lots. One of the lots I paid $2. One of them I paid $1. One of them I bought a whole table out and got it cheaper. So it's hard to remember. $14.95 plus shipping. All right, let's talk about some. Well, I want to talk about one thing that happened on my Facebook page the other day. I don't know why this. I know why this ladder's up. It's because I got an order of American Bubble Whey. That's a perfect segue because I want to talk about two things in particular today. I think we'll talk about the Ground Advantage stuff first. I've been stocking up. I bought last year a bunch of stuff. Sorry, this is not a very entertaining video right here. Let me do this. I bought a ton of paper. I wish I had some local locations like a lot of you guys have out there. But out here in the middle of nowhere, you're gonna have to get it sent to you. Yeah, I mean, we have a Sam's Club not far away and stuff like that, but that's not gonna be the cheapest stuff. Here we go. Sold another one of these. They are flying out of here. Freddy Fazbear Pizza Kit, $33.20. So that means that this one got sent out on offer, or somebody used a code Commonwealth code. Somebody told me they used the code the other day and it didn't work. Has anybody used the code lately? I want to know, make sure it's all working. It should be working. So if you buy anything from us, if you're a viewer, just put code Commonwealth, you'll save 5%. Unless there was an offer in there. That may be what it is. If you already have an offer, you can't put the code in. I think that's right. Any rate, $33.20 plus shipping. So a lot of folks have said, hey, I've noticed you've got the Ground Advantage UPS. This is like the old number 7 box. And yes, I did. And yes, I've lost subscribers and people have yelled at me. But I'm okay with that. I did quite a bit. I looked into quite a bit of stuff. I talked to the folks at the post office. I did all kinds of things. Did my due diligence. And honestly, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting your shipping supplies through, it's not even through Poshmark. Using the system, you have to give them your Poshmark closet to get the USPS Ground Advantage stuff. And we're going to do that. All the pressures that, this is not why, but there are a lot of pressures on the buy cost of shipping materials, have been for years. And I think some of it's getting slightly better, I hope, or at least stabilizing, let's say. And then there's increased fees, especially if you're promoting now on eBay, which is just insane. But hey, we don't do that. But I'm trying to figure out, I'm looking at my entire system and like, where can we cut? Where can we save a little bit of money to kind of push these costs? Because we're eating some of the shipping cost at this point. Not really. We're probably doing slightly better than break even. But we used to do way better than that on shipping. So that's one of the things. If you hate me for it, I'm sorry. I don't think it's justified whatsoever. And for those of you looking for permission from somebody, I can tell you I've done my due diligence on this, and I am 99.9% certain that there's absolutely nothing wrong with this whatsoever. Sold a James Cameron Avatar PC game. And that one sold for $13 and I don't know what, 95 cents plus shipping. Now, we buy boxes in bulk. There's a shed out there, you see it right there, that's full of boxes. And I keep some inside in the Dibdit shipping area as well. I wish, and I have been looking for somewhere local to buy paper, because paper is stinking expensive. And I love this setup, so I want to find it at that length. But I might end up changing my setup at some point in order to accommodate different rolls that I can get cheaper locally if I can find them. I've always been jealous of the folks who say they go to their newspaper office, which that's a dying breed, and they get the end rolls and stuff, and they get all the free stuff, or they live in areas, or they work for places. I worked at a school, and we had a area of the school, and like, I don't know, it's like behind the cafeteria where they kept paper for teachers to do their bulletin boards. I guess people still do that, right? I never did one. I guess I did sometimes. And they had giant rolls of paper. And I would always look at that as a reseller, and I'm like, holy moly, man, I would love that. I never stole any, never. But let me tell you, I would look at these rolls, and sometimes at the very end, they would chuck a roll. You know, it might have just a little bit of paper that maybe could be used, and I might steal the last 2 feet of it because you're not doing a bulletin board with it. But other than that, I'd never touch it because I know that stuff was going to the garbage. But man, I used to get boxes and shipping material. I got the janitors at the school itself. They were awesome. They knew I wanted boxes and shipping material and bubble wrap and all that stuff. And as I walked out of the building, almost every day, there were boxes and shipping material sitting at the door that they knew I walked out of because I'd pick them up and they wouldn't have to break them down. I'm going to pull this next one. There's a bunch. Zach bought this order right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, Zach. That was incredibly Nice of you. And 3 of them, I think, were Tupperware. My Tupperware bin is empty after this. This is nuts. And I actually bought a little bit yesterday to sweeten up that deal. I had that huge deal that I did, and they had Tupperware there. Had tons of it. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to just buy everything because a lot of Tupperware is just not worth selling. I'm going to buy the ones I knew I could sell pretty quick. And now I kind of wish I'd have bought it all. At any rate, this one, paint's not great on that. These cups, I think these cups, yep, these cups right here. And then one more item back here that I hope is here, because I don't remember seeing this one. All right, and they also got an Afghan as well, so that is quite an order from a viewer. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it very much. Hope y'all enjoy them. So obviously there's shipping costs that are rising, and there's shipping materials that are rising. I would love to have some of y'all put your tips and tricks out there. I am going to address something that I got a lot of kickback on, but I'm right on this one. So another one of the Rode Haley Bieber 14 Pro Max. We're down to just 3 left, so I reappropriated that bin. I need to reorganize in here. This one sold for 19 bucks plus shipping. So I learned really early on in the reselling business on social media that there are certain things. It's like, you know, when you go to Thanksgiving dinner and never talk about, you know, politics and religion or whatever, which is kind of bogus. But for resellers, it seemed to me at the very beginning, at the early stages, what type of thermal printer you use, people would get bent out of shape about it. What bubble wrap you use, people get bent out of shape about it. And that's what this is about. Or tape. Or there's all kinds, you know, free shipping, calculated shipping, or flat rate shipping. You know, people just are entrenched. They're dogmatic about this stuff. And obviously I promote American Bubble Boy, and I do it for a reason. Well, I do it for money, but I also do it for a reason as well. For me, I don't tell people, hey, this is what is best for you. But just like when people go to the post office and pay retail, there are resellers out there, y'all, selling stuff on eBay, taking that package, packaging it up, taking it to the post office, and standing in line and paying full retail prices. That blows my mind. Same thing with people who go buy bubble wrap at Walmart. Now, there are some things that I buy at Walmart, certain boxes I buy at Walmart, because I don't have to store massive quantities to get a tiny discount because they're comparable in certain prices. But for the most part, it is not a good idea, especially bubble wrap. And when I broke it down to how much you pay per sheet of bubble wrap, and then there's different qualities of bubble wrap, and I get all that, and I post on there, and I say, hey, here's the link for the bubble wrap, or here's my code Commonwealth for my go-to tape and whatever, and people get totally bent out of shape about it. But that's fine. I don't really care. What I care about is resellers out there finding the best deal for the best product. So I know there's folks out there, they make their own bubble wrap. For instance, there's machines to do that. There's all kinds of options out there. Some people just literally hunt for it and find it. I don't do that just because time, it just isn't worth the difference for me. But I certainly, when it's convenient, or if you come across stuff or have systems in place, that's where you're going to do the absolute best. Barney sold, and it is tested and working. Sold for $24.95 for that one, plus shipping. So a couple of things here. One is that, yes, obviously promote American Bubble Boy, of course. It's not necessarily the best thing for everybody. That's not what I'm saying. It is absolutely the best thing for me. It is the cheapest thing for me. And so whenever I post these things, people will put screenshots up, or this is what I get, or this is what I get. So a couple things. One is, if you are buying online from different platforms, you might be surprised that you're actually buying bubble wrap from the same location under different names. You might, if you've watched my channel for a while, I famously had mud on my face talking about this topic in the past, because one of these companies, well, most of these companies were shipping out bubble wrap that wasn't the link that they said it was, and it was significantly off. And I'm not going to get into all that, but that is something you got to be very cautious about as well. So the other thing is local folks. I have people, like, somebody put a comment. Maybe I should read this. And I'm not going to mention names because it really wasn't mean or negative or anything like that. But this is a real, I mean, we're talking big money over the course of a year if you're not doing your shipping supplies correctly. I love to buy in bulk just because I have the space. I realize some people can't do that. But a lot of people put comments on there like this, and one in particular talking about Sam's Club. Now, if you're buying from a local, like, big box type thing, or something like Sam's Club or whatever you've got out there, Walmart as well, Costco and stuff like that. Some of those, I'll be honest with you, if I was buying locally, I would buy at Sam's Club. It is the cheapest of the bunch, but you know, it's still not cheaper. And I posted, I was like, hey, and this stuff gets delivered to my house. It's automatically delivered. I don't have to order it. I put it on a little subscription, and it just makes time and money for me. And a lot of folks out there have, there's American Bubble Boy little warehouses all over the place, not all over the place. There's a bunch of them in the country. I think there's like 9 or 10. If you're close to one of those, you can get it dirt cheap because they don't have to ship it. And so if you're one of those people, and tell me in the comments if you're close to one and you actually go fill your car up. You want to talk about cheap bubble wrap. You're not going to get that at a Walmart or a Sam's Club or anything like that. Or delivered to your house, of course. This person said, that's nice. I've sensed a little sarcasm here. You get it delivered, but I like to save money, so I stock up when I go to Sam's Club. And I'm like, really? Do you really think you can get it cheaper? And so I decided I was going to calculate the thing out by square feet. That's what people miss. Because people will click on Bubble Boy and they're like, I can't believe you're suggesting this. It's $28 a roll or whatever. Listen, you got to buy in bulk. That's the key. You look at those and you compare the prices. To ship one thing of bubble wrap is going to make it cost a ton of money. But if you're getting multiples, that's where you're going to get it. The one, I should have done this a long time ago. The one that I suggest is the 1,050 square feet. It comes in 3 rolls. And here we go, Betty Boop. Another one sold $18.95 for that Betty Boop. It's a little trinket box. It's really cool. I like it. That's the first time I realized quite where the trinket box actually was. My goodness, plus shipping. So they screenshotted what they buy was at Sam's Club, bubble wrap. And remember, Sam's Club is absolutely one of the best places to buy it, okay? 12-inch small, 1/8 bubble, and there's different sizes and whatever. And people need different stuff. 350 square feet. Actually, this is the wrong one. Here it is, 250 square feet, 1 roll pack, $15.67. So yeah, if you look at 1 roll that you can buy locally versus 1 roll that you can have shipped to you, absolutely. But I encourage people to buy in bulk. If you can afford it, absolutely, and you have the space, buy in bulk. You can save a ton of money on all kinds of different shipping products, including tape, of course. So I'm like, you know, I don't want to give people bad advice. I want to give people the right advice. And so I went and I figured out, okay, how much per square foot? It's actually mind-blowing how much it is, even if you can get it cheap. So I calculated it out, and I told this person, I'm like, hey, you know, obviously they're not trying to say anything mean here. They're just trying to say, hey, don't listen to this. You can actually get it cheaper. What they're buying is more expensive. So 250 square feet for $15.67. I wrote it down here. I calculated it out, so let me look. And I just looked back, and he actually gave pretty nice replies. He's like, where's that? I'm seeing $29 a roll. You got to click on the roll of whatever type you want and see if there's quantities available, and there usually is, or almost always is, because that's the same thing I get all the time. All right, I said you are paying 6.53 cents per square foot. And I'm paying 4.67 cents, which is still crazy how much that is. Now, if you can't store it, I get it, right? If you can't store 3 rolls, you can only store 1, then that's a different story. But most people can store 3 rolls, for goodness sake. So that is a huge difference. And we're talking about one of the cheapest. Now, you might argue quality or whatever, but let's face it. And I think it's just fine. I mean, I just showed it to you. That bubble is just fine. It may not be like top of the line and whatever, but how much stuff do we really ship? I have nothing here that's breakable. Well, I do have that bunny. And I've never had issues. If you pack stuff correctly, I use a lot of paper. It's cheaper. But obviously the way things show up are important to people who buy things too. So putting bubble wrap around things, I'm not going to bubble wrap, say, a video game, but I am going to bubble wrap this, even though it doesn't really need it. You could just pack it in paper, but I'll put a sheet of bubble wrap around it. I sold a Scrooge poster. We've been selling these for quite a while, and $16.80 plus shipping, not a ton of money. I think I paid like $1 a piece for these, and we've been selling them for years. We'll be selling them for years to come. And then Melissa sent me a picture of, she said, cheapest yet, and sent me a screenshot of something that they bought. And I was like, listen, I know this sounds like me trying to be a huckster and make money by clicking through my link. Click through my link, by the way. There's no code Commonwealth. You don't save any money by doing that. However, if you buy tape, you can put anything besides bubble. You can put code Commonwealth in and you'll get 5% off. So anyway, do what you want. I'm just trying to address this as a separate issue. The link that they sent me was to a company that I know does not ship out. the right length. So I told Melissa, if you're listening, yes, of course, if that was what you were getting, it would be slightly cheaper. There's no doubt about it. But I challenge you to roll it out, measure it, or to get a Bubble Boy wrap that's the same length and to roll it out. I think you'd be shocked. Now, I'm not sure that's still the case, but I'm 99% sure. All right, here we go. Magic Voice and Light Keepsake Ornament. This one we've had this one for a long time. A bunch of those were new we just bought, but this one we had forever. Andrew bought it. Thank you, Andrew. Just wanted to say I'm a fan of your YouTube videos and enjoy learning about eBay reselling business. $6.62 plus shipping. Thank you, Andrew. Just had a $279 cancellation. Whew, that one stung a little bit. But you know what? It'll sell eventually. These Anna Lee dolls, bride and groom. You ever find the bride and groom? They go for decent money, y'all. These two sold for $59.82. And honestly, y'all, people gotta obviously act in their own best interest. And no matter, you know, who I'm saying I got links for or whatever, I never want people to do anything that's gonna cost them money. Ornaments. I did pretty good. This thing was full of ornaments. And so we sold most of them off. These German, I think they're German, I can't even remember at this point. Can't remember the name of them. Blown glass. We had 4 of these. One of them sold, one of them broke. And this one sold for, it's Inge, I-N-G, glass with one S. German blown glass. Anyway, $23.70 for that one. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of glad this one's gone. We had 2 of them, and one of them sold for pretty good money. This one did not. $10.60. Condition is everything. We're gonna talk about these lunch boxes for sure. Plus shipping. And of course, if it has the thermos in it. The first one did, this one didn't. Back in the Dibdit cave. Y'all come over and join us, dibdit.com. Speaking of, I gotta look at the model number on this one. I'm looking for 8400. Let's say 8400. This one right here is the one that sold. We always put that in there with the AV cables. That one sold for 60 bucks plus shipping, sold in about 2 days. I mentioned this on the last video, but people look at like, how could you do $15.99 shipping on that? Aren't you going to lose a lot of money? Listen, here's a trick for, well, it's not really a trick, it's common sense, but people overpack these. And a lot of people say, you know, you got to have 2 inches on all sides. Listen, these are pretty, I've been doing these for years. I don't think I've ever had damage to one, ever. I've had some people say, hey, it didn't work or whatever. We test everything, but it doesn't happen very often because we're pretty meticulous about the testing. But I do $15.99 flat rate shipping. Yes, if it went to California, I'd lose money, no doubt. But we did 3 of these on the last video at $15.99 flat shipping, the most expensive one. And they were all fairly close, you know, not 6 zones over. The most expensive one was $11.21, I think. Something like that. Was the most expensive of the 3 I shipped. We'll have to see where this one is going. The key is having the right size box or making it so it stays under a cubic foot. And that's what we do right there. And putting enough packaging in to protect it, but not letting it go over a cubic foot, and that really helps. We've been selling these off too. I've been storing them in here. I probably should take them in there. I've got enough space to put them inside, but I think I hear a pup out there. These are highly fragranced wax melt seaside mimosa. See, I normally say what it sold for and then put it down, but I'm not even in the right place, so let's go in there. I haven't done a Dibdit show in a while. By the time you see this video, I hope to have done one. It's been a while. $17.95 plus shipping. Look at this. We got a pup. Look at poor Juan out there. You don't make me sad, buddy. He's still afraid of being in here. I do not understand it. He's come in a few times, so we have high hopes. You're going to get your treat, but I can't leave your brother stranded out here. Sometimes he doesn't even let me give him his treat out here because he thinks I'm going to pick him up and take him inside there. Come here. Come on. No, you already had yours. There you go, bud. You want to come on in with me? You do. I'm sorry. So one of these selfie, what do you call them? Thermal printers, photo printers. Some of these models can go for good money. Some of them don't, but this one sold, I think it sold for around 30, I think, 25 maybe. Get a good look at that one. Model numbers make a big difference. 24 plus shipping on that one. Paid $5. And we are down to 6. I gotta remember. I think it's up here. There we go. These flip. I've been selling these. I'll tell you what. Of any item we've sold lately, these have been going to viewers almost all the time. So I don't think people realize they're out there. They're kind of cool. Fling, they're little mini, like, oh, what's it say? Dual analog joysticks for smartphone gaming. They're kind of neat. Anyway, we paid $9 for, I think, 30 of them. And we're selling 2 for $12.95 plus shipping. And I think this was the 4th viewer sale of the day, somewhere around there. Thank you all very much. Hi, Kevin. I watch both of your Commonwealth channels. There's 3 of them now. Commonwealth Picker, Commonwealth Flipper, Commonwealth Collections. And that's been fun. I've been doing 1 video a week, and this week I'm like, I don't know if I can get one out. Got a busy week, but we'll see. Tried to apply the code Commonwealth to this order several times, and it wouldn't take it. I'm buying these for my grandson. Thank you for all your content. Teresa, let me know if you've bought something out there, used code Commonwealth on eBay, and haven't got that 5% off. So I need to write a note. Maybe we'll send you an extra 5% back, or throw in a sticker, do something for you, Teresa. We appreciate it. I hope your grandson enjoys them. Like I said, a busy week, so I better get to work. I am just hoping for an early spring. I want to get out there and start sourcing again, but I have so many things I have to put in place first. So maybe I could push it back a little bit, I suppose. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully your eBay stores are doing well. Let me know your shipping supply strategy out there. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you next time.